Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Bengal Magazine. I'm in Orange. It's homecoming week here at Buffalo State, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first up on the show is Nick DeMarsh, the women's soccer coach, moving into the SUNYAC playoffs. And Nick is bringing along Marissa Lombard from Hamburg via Orchard Park. I have to say that, obviously. Rob Burke, women's hockey coach, joins us after that, and Rob is bringing along Courtney Carnes, a senior from Winslow, Maine. We'll figure that one out. And Nick Carriere, men's hockey coach, coming off a great win over Penn State, is bringing along Mike Zannella, a junior from Ithaca. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking soccer. Stay with us. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Bengal Magazine. Let's talk women's soccer, and congratulations to Nick DeMarsh and Marissa Lombard, his student athlete who's here with us in studio, for gaining entry into the SUNYAC playoffs. That's a great accomplishment. And Nick, you've been on the show earlier in the year, but now that the season's unwinding and we're into the playoffs now, give us a little synopsis on how you thought things went this season.
Well, I think it was full of tests and challenges, and the results from some of our earlier games were not what we wanted them to be, but I think the competition and the level of the games that we scheduled really helped us once we got into the conference play. We were able to figure out how to get results against highly skilled, physical, athletic, and organized teams.
Very interesting. And it all started with a great trip out west to California. And Marissa, I'm just kind of curious from a student-athlete standpoint, how cool was that? I mean, and what did it accomplish for you?
It was really cool. It just helped us bond together as a team. You know, as a new freshman coming in, it's kind of hard to get used to all the girls, but
Yep.
It was really good. We made a lot of friends, got really close, and we also played some really good competition when we were out there.
Yeah, you really did. That's a good point. I think that sometimes can get overlooked when we do these West Coast trips or Florida trips, what have you. And yet the team took on two pretty good teams. And from a coaching standpoint, what did the trip accomplish for you?
Well, you know, one of the things you hope for when you go on big trips, and that's why we always schedule some away tournaments early, is obviously the team aspect and having the girls get acquainted. And when you're spending all that time traveling, you learn each other, you grow.
Sure.
But tactically, we also were matched up against teams that were probably a little bit better than us, teams that had won their conference the year before. Our first 5 opponents, they had all been in the NCAA tournament the year before.
Wow.
Top 20 teams in the country. And we competed with them, and we played them tough, particularly our second game in California. 1-0 loss that could have easily been a tie or a win for us had we had the benefit of a couple of, I think, obvious calls from the officials. That would have been a different result.
Red card.
Well, yeah, when the defender drags down your your
okay,
striker,
we don't need to get into all that.
That could be a red card for sure, and a penalty kick.
There you go.
Or the referee can wave it off and say play on.
Right. And so you get a feel for your team in those games out there, and it's a chance for them to bond. And like Marissa said, for a freshman coming in, gosh, who are these people? And they have a chance to really kind of get together a little bit. What do you like most about this team as you move into the playoffs? What really kind of fascinates you?
Well, I think the most positive part of this group is their battling, their fighting, their ability to just grind it out and keep things close. Even when we are pitted against maybe a team that might be a little bit more tactical or athletic than we are, this team has found a way to get results when we need them. And I'm hoping that continues.
And you're kind of nodding your head, I think. You kind of agree with that. You've played on a lot of soccer teams, obviously. What do you sense from this team?
I just think we're really good at supporting each other on the field. We work really hard for each other, and even when things don't go our way, we always push and fight back.
Yeah, that's a great attribute to have. We're moving into the playoffs now. This Saturday at Cortland, 1:30. Let's go back a little bit to October 5th when you took on Cortland here, and it ended up in a 2-2 tie. Let me ask the student athlete first. What do you remember about that game, and what can you take as an athlete into Saturday's game?
Well, Cortland was a really good, strong team, but I don't think it's anything that we couldn't handle. I mean,
okay.
I think Saturday's going to be a really tough game. We're going to battle just like we always do, and maybe we'll get a result out of it.
Well, let's hope so, certainly. And you know, that's an interesting mindset that, you know, it is who it is. It's Cortland, but you know, they're seeded 4th. I believe we're seeded 5th. The records are similar. What do you take out of that game from October 5th that you can maybe place into this game?
Well, as a freshman, Marissa doesn't have the perspective that I do. Since 2008, we're 2 wins, 2 ties, and 1 loss with Cortland. We have a favorable record with them. They have a hard time beating us for whatever reason. I think part of it is my group's attitude towards Cortland. We want to compete with them. We appreciate how competitive they are, but we also think that maybe they get a little bit overconfident. And we've been able to not only compete, but to beat them on a regular basis and beat them at their place. Even last year,
Sure.
We lost in overtime.
Right.
Again, it was a great game, and we've been to overtime with this team, Cortland, I think 4 times in the last 5 games, including our tie at home this year.
Okay.
So for us, we look at this as a great matchup for us. We're happy to go to Cortland and try to play.
About a minute and a half left. What specifics now, without giving away the game plan, obviously, because I know they're watching this show right now, but what specifics would you take from that October 5th game and either utilize or maybe throw out?
Well, Cortland has a very strong midfield.
Okay.
And we need to make sure that we do our job zonally, that our wing midfielders pinch in and help. But really, we want to put pressure on their backs, which we think is their weakest line. And if we can execute on set pieces the way we've done in the last 3 or 4 games and get some chances off of corner kicks and free kicks, then we're going to have a great chance to win.
Well, congratulations on a terrific season so far. Marissa, congratulations. Good luck Saturday at Cortland. We'll be watching. Thanks very much to women's soccer and Nick for coming on. Before we take a break and move to Rob Burke and women's hockey, I do want to remind you that our volleyball team is coming off just a terrific season, undefeated in conference play, and they start the SUNYAC Championships at home. The semifinals on Saturday, November 3rd at the Sports Arena. That's a 3 p.m. match. And then the finals, should they move on, is on Sunday, November 4th. That's noon at the Sports Arena. So if you're looking for some great collegiate volleyball, come and support the Bengals on November 3rd and 4th. We will take a break, and when we come back, Rob Burke and women's hockey. Let me tell you, I wish you were all sitting in our live studio audience and hearing how nervous Courtney is, but Courtney's going to be great. We're joined by women's hockey right now, and Rob Burke and Courtney Carnes, the senior from Winslow, Maine, of all places, coming to Buffalo to play hockey. And Coach, welcome, and Courtney, welcome.
Thank you.
First time on, season's barely started, had an exhibition, I know. We'll talk about that in a bit, but give us a little overview on the team this year, what we can expect.
Well, we've got 10 returning players who have come back more physically fit than I think any returning group that we've ever had, so that was huge. We had talked to our captains in the spring about taking responsibility and ownership for that over the summer, because as you know, NCAA rules prevent coaches from monitoring that. Pardon me. And so Lauren Mell, our captain, Rio Flynn, our assistant captain, I think have done a tremendous job through the summer and also through the preseason, getting these kids in shape. And to those returners, we've added 6 recruits as well.
Wow.
Should have been 9. We had 3 that didn't quite get accepted. So.
Well, Courtney, are you physically fit? I mean, were you? Was this a great summer for you to get ready for your 4th year with the Bengals?
I mean, I don't have any complaints. I worked a lot, but yeah.
Okay, we're ready. You were ready to go when camp started.
I'm ready to go.
Fantastic. Let's talk about the exhibition win on Monday, 3-2. Give us your thoughts on that game. Kind of turn out the way you thought it would in terms of what happened on the ice, and what do you take from that game?
Yeah, it's. I mean, since I got here, I've tried to schedule some tough preseason opponents, typically out of Ontario, and thus far we haven't been successful in getting W's. And you want to, excuse me, you want to build on those W's leading into some non-conference and conference play. And we haven't quite been able to do that until this year, finally.
Yeah, right.
Niagara Falls, I'd seen them a couple times, and they're a good, gritty team, and I thought they'd give us a good test. I know the coach. I helped them out with some skill sessions this summer and just a great guy, classy organization. They did a real good job against us. Never gave up. We had a 3-0 lead.
Oh.
They ultimately got one. A little scramble played near the post, kind of took a funny bounce and went in, and 3-1. And then their second goal was a 6-on-4 power play. They'd pulled the goalie in the last minute and made it look close. But I think the game was. We had a lot more quality chances. I think a lot of their shots were from the outside, so it was kind of the way I expected it to go.
Good. Courtney, you're from Winslow, Maine, and I'm always curious as how student athletes find their way to Buffalo. And with hockey, it's a kind of a different recruiting game we play. But tell me, how does one from Winslow, Maine end up at Buffalo State?
Well, I was recruited to a different school and went there and ended up getting cut. I decided that I wasn't done playing hockey, so I ended up playing for a junior team out of Portland, Maine. Then I emailed Coach Burke and told him that I'd be at a tournament in Boston, and he came to see me play.
Fabulous. And that's how it often happens, especially with hockey, and emails and videos going back and forth, et cetera.
Absolutely.
You decided to move her from wing to center last year, and apparently it has paid off. You're very happy with her play. Why was that move made?
Kind of sometimes you go on hunches,
a
little hockey hunch. And again, recruiting money well spent going to Boston to get Court. She spent 2 years on the wing and then just kind of went with a bit of a hunch last year, and it paid off right away. She was very consistent. D-zone coverage down low, helping support the D in the corners, just did a fantastic job of being in lanes and stick on the ice, and just all the small little things that you look for as a coach, the detail. So her execution just elevated, and she became the total two-way player for us. And I can't say enough about how she's evolved here in such a positive way.
That's not easy to do. How was your adjustment? Did you find it difficult? Was it easy? And what do you like about playing center as compared to a winger?
Well, getting used to playing college hockey, it's definitely an adjustment from wing to center, but I played center all throughout high school, so it's not like it was brand new to me. Definitely more defensive playing than it is a winger, but.
And yet you are now you're going to put her on power, you did last year, and I'm assuming this year, power play and penalty kill. Power play, what do you see in her offensive skills that make her on your power play?
Well, Court's always been offensively gifted. She's got great hands. She's tucked in pucks from angles that I don't think I've seen from anybody else. And I saw that right away when I was recruiting her. In fact, what I told her on day one when I saw her at the Chowder Cup in Boston was that, you offensively and around the puck, you're fantastic. Once you grow your complete game and play that way away from the puck, you'll be a complete college hockey player. So she took that and has grown that. Like she said, the transition isn't overnight, and she just kept working and plugging away. She's had injuries that she's fought through and done a tremendous job recovering from that. And again, now she's grown into this complete player that I can rely on both offensively on the power play because of her hands and her smarts around the net, and then defensively as well on the PK. She's just very, very good at doing her job.
And what do you like best and why, power play or penalty kill?
Well, obviously power play because I like to score some goals.
Sure.
But I like penalty kill too.
Okay.
I mean, like blocking shots takes some momentum away from the other team.
Great to hear that. Great to hear that. A couple minutes left. Stevenson at the Ice Arena on Friday at 4 o'clock, and then back at it Saturday at noon. What are we looking at? What are you looking at? It's obviously a non-conference game. Is it same as normal, or are you still tweaking? Are you still looking? What is the coach looking at in these games?
A little bit of all the above, Tom, because even the exhibition game we talked to the kids about, we're not treating it as just an exhibition game, that we want to win as many games as possible.
Okay.
We have specific goals for this year that we want to get to. Stevenson, we want to sweep them, but we can't worry about Saturday until, of course, Friday is in the books. But we're still tweaking a little bit. Obviously, we're only in our second week of being with the kids officially after the October 15th start date. But the number one thing is the effort.
Yeah.
If the effort's there, the execution's going to come, and we're seeing that in practice. We saw that Monday night against Niagara Falls, where we had moments where we were all over them, and other moments where it got kind of scrambly.
Sure.
So we're still trying to refine ourselves leading into this weekend, and our power play we're adjusting a little bit and making sure we're again just fine tuning.
And about a minute left. Yep. Keys to this season, as you see this team now, what are going to be the 2 or 3 keys that are going to carry you through this season?
Well, we've talked a lot about really getting more aggressively minded in the offensive zone. If you see a shot lane, you've got to take the shot, trusting that the other two line mates are going hard to the net, and our D always support very close to our forwards on the rush. So we want to make sure that if you're going to pull a delay on the sideboards, you look for the D, because your forwards are going hard nose to the net, and we're just going to shovel a lot of pucks to the net and create rebounds. And the philosophy is it's not necessarily the first puck on net, but that second and third puck. That's going to get us the goals that we want to get.
Well, I wish you both the best of luck. Courtney, thanks for coming. That wasn't so bad, was it? Look at that big smile. It's fantastic. Thanks for being on the show, Rob and Courtney. We appreciate it, and best of luck this season. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do want to mention the Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week, and it is Kevin Carr, the goaltender for the men's hockey team. He backstopped the Bengals to a 3-0 win over Penn State last Friday. The Bengals were outshot 19-7 in that first period, and yet Kevin held it scoreless. He made 35 saves throughout the game, including the team and him killing off a 5-minute major midway through the third period. The junior from Unionville, Ontario, also the SUNYAC Athlete of the Week. It's Kevin Carr, our Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, more hockey. Nick Carriere is going to join us to talk about that Penn State game. Stay with us. Don't forget, Homecoming and Family Weekend is this weekend, October 27th. That's Saturday. We start with the tailgate party presented by Wegmans. That's at the Sports Arena starting at 10:45 to about noon. And then everybody's going to head on over to Coyer Field, and football takes on Hartwick. Tickets for the tailgate party are $10. You can buy those at the door, and $5 for the football game, and you can buy those right at the ticket gate at Coyer Field. So hope everyone can come out and enjoy Homecoming. And Nick Carriere joins us along with Mike Zannella, his junior from Ithaca. And Coach, first time on the show as the season gets going. Lots to talk about, but why don't you give us a little overview on the team this year?
Off to a good start. Brought back 22 guys, returning players. We lost Jim Durham as a senior and Justin Nee. So it wasn't a huge turnover. We brought in 7 recruits. And a lot of the guys were in the lineup our first night. We're excited. We returned a lot of guys, so there's not a whole lot of reintroduction of how we operate and that sort of stuff. And our leadership has done a great job of
Mike, what's it like to be back in the locker room with basically the same core of guys? It must be nice from just a transition period from one season to another.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Not only from last year, but from my freshman year, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had a class of about 16, 17 freshmen.
Yeah.
I'd say there's a good 15, 16 guys still there.
Fabulous.
So
they must love playing for Coach Carriere, huh?
Oh, they just love it.
You can give him that $20 now. Okay, let's get right to it, and that's you said you got off to a pretty good start. You got off to a great start, and that was the win over Penn State. 1,600 people at the arena. Really, in my personal opinion, the greatest athletic event I've been around in the 12 years at Buffalo State. But let me ask you something, Coach. As you go into a game like this, what's the coaching philosophy as you relate to the student-athlete going up against a Division I team?
We always worried about ourselves and playing the way that we need to play. We have a vast variety of players that do different things, and we want every guy to be a star in their role. It's something we picked up from our coaches clinic last year, but it was a great statement by Jerry York after they won the national championship, and just talked about having guys really embrace what they're good at and what they bring to the table that's going to help us win hockey games. And that really was the approach through the very short week. We had one day where we kind of used as tryouts on Monday and some scrimmaging, and then just kind of put some pieces together, and we had really 2 days of meat and potatoes. And
meat and potatoes, and not even any gravy on top.
No gravy.
2 days, you don't get any gravy. Mike, what was it like in the locker room leading up to? I mean, you had 4 days of practice, basically. Same core people, but you are playing Penn State. I mean, how was the mindset in the locker room?
I mean, we had 4 days with Coach. We had a good 4, 5, almost 6 weeks before Coach even came out.
Yeah.
Penn State was on our mind day one we stepped on the ice. Got to know each other, things like that. But we got down to business right away. We've been going real hard for about 5 weeks.
Yep.
And I think we were just in very good conditioning shape. And when the time came around, we knew that there's one thing we could control, and that's how hard we were going to compete. So I think we took that and ran with it.
And going into the game now, what is the coaching game plan against Penn State? Is it let's just worry about what we do best? Maybe you referred to that earlier, or is it do you know Penn State and do you try to do things differently because of Penn State and maybe the size, et cetera?
We always want to know our opponent.
Okay.
We had a little bit of a scout because Penn State had played AIC twice before we had the opportunity to play them. So we had an idea of some things they did and some things that we wanted to capitalize on. Both of you were discussing, our captains did a great job of making sure our team was physically fit and ready to go for when we got them. So based on that, we wanted to impose our physical will on them. Mm-hmm. We wanted to keep it a simple game, and we wanted to give them shots from the outside, but once things got a little in tight, we really focused on collapsing and making sure our players were taking away those secondary and third opportunities after Kevin Carr make those first saves.
Well, and I thought it was important watching the game. I noticed that it was really 60 minutes of physical hockey. You started right in the first period, continued in the second. And frankly, I was amazed that you had that much gas left in you. But was it a real difficult game physically to play, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, those guys were pretty big. I think we tried to focus on our speed, no matter who we're playing. We've always tried to focus on our speed and to finish our checks. So the physicality is there, but when you're trying to outskate guys, sometimes you can, blow through a check or pass through one, and I think that's really what we did. We really did a good job taking body in our zone, which was nice. Our defense did a great job with slowing their guys down and keeping them to the outside, like Coach said.
But I thought there were some key moments in that game. First of all, the first period, guys. You're outshot 19-7, but they don't go up at all. They don't score, and maybe we can talk about the first period a little, starting with you, Nick, and maybe the play of your goaltender to keep you in the game, Kevin Carr.
Kevin Carr's a heck of a goaltender. He made the saves he needed to make early on. I think we gave them a couple of power play opportunities in that first period, and they were moving around, but our guys did a great job on the kill. And again, veteran guys that knew our penalty kill, so we didn't have to work on it a whole lot. Basically, draw it up, walk through it, that sort of thing. So our guys knew and did a pretty good job there. But it was weathering the storm. They came out flying, and as Z alluded to, there's some big boys and so an NHL draft pick out there, and. So these guys could skate, shoot, pass, bang, do all that stuff. So it was kind of weathering that and realizing that, hey, they might be big and strong, but they still have to turn to go get a puck, and they still have to look over their shoulder when someone's going to run them.
That's
and those are the things that I think once our ears were pinned back for a little bit and we figured out, okay, this is just another college hockey team. Once that became clear, then we started going, and obviously that power play goal with Nick Milligan walking in with some time and kind of found them a little bit disorganized in the PK and threw it there and got a bounce and went in.
Well, and we don't have really time to discuss it, but you killed off a 5-minute major in the third period, and you were up 3-0 at the time, but a goal, maybe 2 goals during that 5-minute period, and it's a whole different game. So that was an outstanding kill, I thought. About a minute and a half left, guys. What have you done for me lately, Nick? That was last Friday. We're coming up to this weekend, and right away you're right back at it in conference play against 2 pretty good teams.
We called in a medicine man to shrink the heads.
There you go.
The boys. That's what we did.
There you go.
You enjoy that experience. You build from it. You take the positives and the negatives from it as we watch the video. Tweak nuts and bolts and correct some things and then you apply that moving forward to Brockport on Friday night, who's going to come in and work hard just like every other SUNYAC team, and really just value it, but realize, hey, we still have to come to work.
And in the locker room, mindset right now going into these 2 weekend games from the Penn State game?
I got to use the Penn State game as a good foundation for what we want to do this season. No way or shape is that our goal was to come in and win 1 game this year.
So, nice to hear.
That's our foundation, and we're going to build from there and take Friday as it comes. So.
Well, best of luck to you guys. Thanks very much for being on the show, and congratulations. It was a super game and a super win. Don't forget, Brockport is here Friday night, 7 o'clock. Geneseo is here Saturday, 7 o'clock. Tickets are $5. You cannot see any better hockey, and there's no Sabres right now, so come on out and watch the Bengals. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Bengal Magazine. Thanks to everybody that was on the show, our live studio audience, and instructional resources for putting this show together. We'll see you in 2 weeks for more Bengal Magazine.